Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Song of the Crimson Nile Season 2 Episode 4. I am actually so intrigued to know what happens next. Remao finally was chased away like the little bitch he is. And Ramesses decided to leave us as well. Which actually broke my heart because now we're completely alone at that place with Aemon and Livius. Apparently our nice roommate Agnia was pretending the entire time she knew everything that was going on, and she makes part of the Epistates group. But at least we finally got a real friendship with Livius, and we finally are together with Aemon, which is gonna be an interesting story considering that Set showed up in a place where Aemon placed us precisely to keep us safe until he's done hunting Remao, and Set killed every single person that was supposed to watch that door and is like, come on, sweetheart, we need to do something. I am scared to know what this man is gonna ask of her. But we will see. The very worst has happened. Only drastic measures can save Eva's life. Oh no! This episode contains description of violence and death. Great. Episode 4, Servants of Set. Oh no! Set stood in the middle of the room as if his presence there was the most normal thing in the world. Eva's heart nearly stopped in fear. Things weren't going according to plan. She actually was hoping that she could escape Set by being locked up in there. Girl, this man is a god. He's the god of rage. This man would have found you eventually. You're not alone. Not even trying to hide how alarmed he was, Livia stepped forward and shielded Eva as if protecting her from that stranger. I love Livius. No, she's not alone. Ooh, Livius. Should I get rid of him? You do not touch Livius. You can touch everyone, but you can't touch Livius. Evan is gonna whoop your ass, I fear. So, I don't need to say that you don't have to touch him. I'm pretty sure this man can take you. Seth was talking to Eva, but Livius didn't remain silent and responded with a mocking question. Will you get rid of everyone? Of the crowd of hunters who are waiting for me outside too? I'll start with you in any case. Hands off. Livius has no idea who he's dealing with. I need to stop them from fighting and explain everything. He doesn't know who you are. Get comfortable. We have plenty of time to chat. Love this. This is the humor. Start with me instead. I'm the one sitting near a torture chamber. I have to. It's the dark humor. Eva looked around pointedly, hinting at the situation. Has everyone noticed where we are? Or is it just me being bothered? Eva, let's go. Don't kick up a fuss. That's why I came here. So you came to help me, after all, and not to threaten Livius? Oh, was someone trying to threaten me? I had to. Livius raised his hands carefully, speaking in his most charming tone. Let's calm down and just talk this through. We'll still have enough time to jump at each other's throats later if needed. He glanced at Eva to gauge her reaction, and then calmly shifted his gaze to Sid. He wasn't scared or angry. Livius was perfectly calm. Eva, you're clearly the only one who understands what's going on. Care to explain? Or do you have some private matters to discuss and I should leave you alone? He spread his hands, giving her a choice. Seth was in no hurry to interfere, grinning slyly. Yes, Eva, go on, tell him about us. If I'm right, people forget they've seen Seth as soon as he disappears. If so, is there any point in trying to explain this to Livius? No, I kinda understand now. That would also make sense with the conclusion I drew from last episode. People that don't have a contract with this man forget that this man exists as soon as he disappears. But as soon as he's around, people see him. That's why Ramesses talked to him when we were still in that room to do our commission before he left And the next time we talked about him, Ramesses didn't know anything about Seth. So that means that as soon as Seth disappears, the people that don't personally have a contract with him forget that he exists. But the people that have a contract with him remember. Wouldn't it just be easier to lie and save time? I guess I'll explain the situation. Nothing escapes Livius. He even remembered me in Tino's dream, and there's no explanation for that. What are the chances that he'll remember Seth as well? Regardless, she wanted to be honest with Livius. He was risking his life and deserved to know everything he wanted to know. Eva turned to Seth. Can I tell him everything? I mean everything. You can try. Will he be able to remember? Won't he forget you like everyone else? I am remembered only by those whom I allow to remember me. That! For everyone else, I vanish like a mirage until we meet again. When one's life is long, being pursued by many only burdens an already tedious existence. Where do all the myths and legends about me come from if everyone were to forget? Some people can hold on to flashes of memory, vague images they later tell others about. Others forget about me completely, assuming they survived, of course. Not everyone is always so fortunate. The Red Land is often cruel to travelers. Seth looked at Livius and leaned back against the wall. But that one won't forget anything, even if I want him to. Tell him, little Shesmu. See, this man is special! About what? About you, the hero of local legends. Path of honesty, said Livius, and it's a serious matter. He wants me to fulfill a commission for him, and I can't refuse. Someone made a mistake in the past, and I have to pay for it. Seth. Livius of Paella, a Macedonian. Do you know me? I've heard about you. The famous healer, you will benefit from my wish too. Seth shrugged his shoulders mysteriously and then nodded at the door. I'd like to have a word with you both, but first let's get out of here. It's hard to breathe in here. This place is soaked in dark magician's blood. Why are you here? I was told to wait for the epistates. How can I fulfill your wish? And what does Livius have to do with anything? Follow me while I'm still being nice and you'll find out. Seth bent his head down slightly, crossed the threshold, and headed down the narrow corridor. Livius looked at Eva with a question in his eyes. Who was that? A friend or a foe? He is a friend and a foe. That's the problem. This man can be a friend, I have the feeling. Because it's the decision if he wants to be kind to you or not. Like, that's also the kind of thing like him saying, I can be remembered by people who I allow to remember me. If I don't want someone to remember me, they forget. So, he is literally both. He's capable to do both, and that's what makes this man dangerous, because you don't know what to expect from him. He can see you in 1 second as a friend, and the second you stir him the wrong way, he sees you as a foe and he kills you. Was he dangerous, or was he someone they could reason with? What kind of depth was she talking about? Whose depth was it? It's a long story. Let's deal with him first and talk about it later, alright? Alright. I wonder what he wants to talk to me about. Invisible God, what about the hunters who were standing guard? Are we going to leave them like that? I really want to believe they're alright. Not fully convinced about the truth of her words, Eva hurried after Seth. Livius caught up to them after making sure that the hunters still had a pulse. Seth took them out to the terrace to get some fresh air. A comfortable bed hidden in the shade of lush greenery served as respite for the hunters. A jug of water and fruit were waiting for them on the table. Seth took a deep breath, as if he had been too disgusted to even breathe in the interrogation room. As the patron of all Shesmu, it would have been natural for him not to be fond of such places. Livia sat down on the cushions and poured himself some water to freshen himself and prepare for their conversation. He understood things weren't going to be simple. Seth sat down on a wooden fence. You got yourself caught. How are you planning to do what I asked for you? Once again, I have to come to your rescue. It's not the first time, and not even the second. His words seemed to transport Eva back to the day they met, when Seth had stepped out of the oasis hidden in the wild greenery and walked toward her. He had seemed so strange to her back then, but that hadn't actually been their very first meeting. Eva had remembered that as she fought with Remao. It had all started long before Thebes, long before she moved to the Temple of Thoth and started studying dark magic. Eva was only 12 when Set appeared behind her stepfather like a menacing shadow. With his heavy, strong hand, he had literally knocked the life out of him. The sun illuminates the day, the moon commands the night. The whole house ablaze, your name a curse, a blight. Nowhere you'll find respite, in agony you'll dwell. The one you hold most dear will fall to a malady spell. Eva had completely forgotten about his intervention and spent the rest of her life wondering what exactly had happened that night. So I need to remedy. It's literally how he said it. It has nothing to do if you have depth with him or not. He says if he wants you to remember, and if he doesn't, then you don't. It doesn't matter if you have a debt with him or not. If he wants you to repay for that debt, he makes you remember him. It was you who helped me back then when I was a child, right? You killed that man, saved me from him so that I could escape. Livius. Livius didn't bat an eye, but he remembered that Eva had shared her secret with him. As a child, something had forced her to run away from home, a traumatic and painful experience that still weighed on her. His heart ached for her. He was very sorry that she'd gone through something like that. Livius sympathizes with you as a friend. Of course, he is my friend. I also cursed all those who were related to him and shared his blood because one soul's not enough to pay for all the atrocities he'd committed. He wanted to touch something that didn't belong to him. Do you care? You didn't want to lose your debtor. Well, you always protect me. Honestly, at this point, do you care? Did you kill him so that he wouldn't hurt me? I protected you so that you would stay alive until you could pay off your debt. Yeah, I know. You humans can't be left unattended. A bitch. To be quite honest with you, I still have the feeling that he still cares somehow. Not in the way of caring as in romantically caring, but I have the feeling that this man cared to a specific extent, as in this woman could be used for the bargaining. That means that she's valuable. So, if this man hurts her, harms her, he has no right to do that because she is that special to a certain extent. So I would still think that he kind of cared about her somehow. Even though I knew that it was to pay off the debt. Like, let's be real. You die so quickly and often at the most inopportune times. Yes, thinking of him as caring would be simply ridiculous. Livius couldn't hold back any longer and intervened, putting down his cup. What does she need to do? Eva just needs to enter the Supreme Opposite Stream today, and right after that you will help her flee from Thebes. The Supreme Opposite Stream? What is this nonsense? And help her flee? Where? That was exactly what Eva would have wanted if she didn't have another important task. I can't leave the city until you find the body of the drowned boy. You'll stop by right after. Eva froze in disbelief. I can get to Eastman's body? And I can escape after I've paid off my debt? Are you going to help me? I'll create the right circumstances slowly, Shesmu. But you can't succeed without your friend here. He has to take you to that body. You want to get in touch with Eastman? It's too early. The mummification process is not over. You're stubborn. I was right. It's not worth getting involved in this. He didn't die a natural death. And you're going to get hurt if you keep meddling in this. You found something on his body and you didn't tell me anything? No, and that's the strangest thing about this. There are no signs of a fight, as there would be if he had been drowned, and there were no signs that he struggled for his life either. Livius is working on Eastman's body, and he has a guess. Eva thought back to her dream. Eastman, the shore, someone's eerie figure, the flowers in his hand, and Anubis and the bloodied reflection on the water. She thought it would have been better to ask Seth about that in private. She didn't want Livius to doubt her sanity. I have to flee. Aemon will soon return from the day's hunt. And even if he hasn't caught my mentor, he will still come to see me. If I complete Seth's task and find Eastman, then I can leave Thebes. And leave Aemon too. But after all, she had known that from the beginning. It was too much to hope for a different outcome. If Eva ran away, would he let her go so easily? What lay ahead for them? Livius turned to Seth. What are you looking for in the opposite stream? And why will it benefit me? If finally asking the right questions, we'll all benefit from that. He reached for a bunch of grapes, pinched off a few, and started explaining. I'm looking for someone who also owes me. Wherever he goes, he brings nothing but trouble, and that's because I'm not keeping an eye on him. He belongs to me just like Eva, but he rebelled and began serving someone else. I punish people severely for doing that. Another debtor? How many do you have? This bitch is ancient. Your mother's not the first one who got off giving me her child in return for me granting her wish. They always regret it, but the payback is inevitable. The mother didn't regret it because she was a bitch. Why? Did you want to be my only one? Oh, sir, stop it. I love guys that are cunning like this, to be quite honest with you, but considering the fact who this man really is, I'm not attracted to it. His hot personality sometimes can't overshadow this man's horrible personality. Livius remained silent but listened to the conversation very carefully. The legends, a marriage, a red-haired young man leading lost travelers into the sands. He'd read about all that in some papyrus. He had heard people whispering about it over a cup of Hekis, sometimes adding extra details for effect. Is that debtor to be found somewhere in Aemon's dreams? The Supreme Apostate suffers from nightmares. And I'm sure my Hemset is the one who caused them. I want to know for sure, so I can find him. Hemset, a servant of the gods, said, yes! What makes you so sure? The White Hunter is like the disk of the sun at its zenith. People like him can only be born out of a special union. It's not something you see often. It's good for him that not many people know about it. Otherwise he wouldn't have survived to his age. What kind of union is he talking about? But everyone thinks he was touched by the god Ras to carry out the pharaoh's will. My debtor used to deal with 2 people of that kind. I know that for sure. However, I'm forced to track him down by following a trail of blood, as he is devious and shows no mercy to anyone. That's why I'm so sure. Eva looked away bitterly. Did Aemon suffer because of dreams that reminded him of his past? What else was bothering him? What else hadn't he told her about? I mean, girl, you just started to be together. Come to think of it, she knew absolutely nothing about... Yeah! You only know a bit of the surface, and she didn't share much about herself either. How long have you been looking for him? About 20 years. Wow! He was bows that make him very skilled at hiding, but now I have you. The Oasis brought us together for a reason. He sends one servant to find another. And how is any of this going to benefit me? I told you, the man brings nothing but trouble, both for me and for everyone else. If he's found in the Supreme Apostate stream, I can assure you that he had a hand in the spread of the disease in Tebas. Does that make things clear for you? Livia slowly got up from his seat without saying a word. His eyes were wide and his gaze sparkled with interest. So the man you're looking for might be connected to the curse in Tebas. Emma was right then in believing that the disease was the work of a... Shesmu. Oh yes, and not just any Shesmu. He's very talented in the dark arts, but the answer lies in the apostate stream. Will you help poor little Shesmu find her friend's body? She won't rest until she makes sure it's possible. And she really needs peace of mind to get into that dream. I'll cloud the apostate's mind, but Eva will still need all of her skills. Yes, I will help you find the body and escape. You've had enough adventures, dear. It's time you found peace anywhere. Far away from the hunters. Thank you, Livius. I don't know how I'll ever repay your kindness. Try not to lose your head for a start. The main thing is to get you out of Tebas. Everything is going so well for us. Where did they move Eastman's body? Did he stay on the east bank of the Nile? Yes, but I don't know where exactly. I'll try to find out. Although I'll probably risk drawing a unwelcome attention to myself by asking about such a thing. Said, help him find the body! I had to. Eva looked at her patron. She no longer felt nervous standing next to him. At least now she knew what was the goal he was pursuing. Furthermore, she knew that it was indeed impossible to escape him. And for a very long time she wondered what Hemset, the owner of his secret name, could have done to be able to hide from Set. Me, help him. What if his search takes too long? He only has a few hours. How can he manage alone? He'll manage if he tries hard enough. Path of honesty! Orator! Period! Eva narrowed her eyes and nodded. What if there's not enough time? Then we won't find the body, and not getting in touch with my friend's soul would really upset me. Ooh! Unimpressed by her attempt to convince him, Seth raised an eyebrow. That's not my problem. If it is, I agreed to help with the body out of the goodness of my heart. Out of the goodness of your heart! What kind of... ooh. What I can say about Seth is that he actually gives off the vibes of someone that is like, I don't know, he is at the head of the food chain, he has everything he could ever ask for, and people that are like, you are being cruel or something because you don't think about someone else. It's like him saying, are you kidding me? The fact that I'm letting you live is only because of the goodness of my heart. I could have had you killed because you are useless to me. This is literally the vibe he's giving me. But don't try to make me do your work. You've been searching for your debtor for so long, and now that you have the chance to capture him, you're willing to risk letting him slip through your fingers. Will you sit back while he escapes your grasp again? Your skills as a narrator have increased. Seth rolled his eyes, popping a grape into his mouth. Alright, you talked me into it. I'll help you. Thank you. Maybe everything will really work out this time? So you find out where the body is, and I'll take you where they have to talk. Seth nodded, dusting himself off. Seth will help Livius find the body. This will affect the plot. Okay. The vague outline of the plan had been agreed upon. The episodes will be back from down soon. I'll come to talk to you. You'll cloud his mind with the hypnotic substance I'll give you. Just make sure to stand close to him. If find a mask in the room, get into his dream, find out what they talked about, and leave immediately. You won't run into the hunters. How will I get to Livius? He'll be in Thebes. I'll be waiting for you outside. We'll get there together. Titian's voice rang out inside the house. Eva recognized it instantly and flinched. It's Livius of Paella. How come you are here? Titian came out onto the terrace and looked around, but only saw Eva and Livius. Neither of them had noticed Seth disappear. He seemed to have vanished into thin air. Livius is clear. He'll figure out everything on his own if Seth continues to do what he pleases. Yeah, Titian raised his eyebrows. What are you doing out here? And there is no one standing guard. You are allowed to come outside here, you lousy scribe. Oh, Titian, be kind. Do you want me to suffocate? Don't get angry at me, Titian. We've been waiting for you, Hunter. I'm sorry I have to. Now you're back and we can go back. I cannot. You never stop joking, do you? Are you going to joke with the episodes too? Of course, that's my goal. Not with him, but I can joke with you. That's why I like you more. Love it. Titian shook his head, looking at Eva incredulously. Don't try to sweet talk me. You know very well that you like this. The hunter waved her off and pointed to the door. Get back inside, both of you. I have something to talk to you about, Livius of Paella. Titian let Eva go first and waited for Livius and walked beside him. Titian brought Eva back to the room where she'd spent the morning. The hunter looked lost in thought and was quieter than usual. Are you tired after the hunt? It was interesting. Tonight will be no less eventful. Then why do you look so grim? I've been exchanging messages with that girl, hers. Really? Titian nodded and hesitated as if not knowing where to begin. She seems to be interested in me. But I'm tired of secretly writing to each other. Maybe I should invite her somewhere. But where do you even go with a girl like her? How to entertain her? What if she says no? She'll say yes. Eva forced a smile. She wished she had Titian's problems. Me too, sis. On the other hand, she was getting a glimpse of what the hunters were really like. They were nothing but ordinary people with understandable worries and concerns. What on earth possessed her to become a dark magician? She could have become a weaver, or someone's assistant. Then she could have accepted similar attention from a hunter. Ah, yes, all I need is my own hunter. Yes, I need him, very much so. She seemed like a fun person to me. I bet she will agree to any entertainment you offer. Invite her on a walk, or what do people do for fun in Thebes? If that's what you think, then Then I'll write her another message. I'll cook something and treat her. Aww. You have convinced Sitien to invite her to spend an evening together. Ah, the door slammed behind her and Eva was left alone again. Her mind immediately went back to Eamon. Just that morning, Eva had been sleeping peacefully by his side, although she could have never imagined something like that could ever happen. The man had sat down on the bed, leaned back on the pillows, held out his arms to her and offered her to get some rest. Rest, right next to the Supreme Epistates. Eva was sure she wasn't going to be able to fall asleep, but it was so warm and cozy next to him, and all the fatigue and worries of the last few days had taken a toll on her. She fell asleep immediately, and she even felt Eamon's finger tracing patterns on her skin as he caressed her hair. Right then she was preparing to share a bed with him again, but driven by another's will. She noticed a pair of bright eyes in the dark corner of the room and almost flinched at the sound of his low voice. I left your mask behind the pillows, in the common room. I'll give you the hypnotic substance now. Seth stepped forward, clutching something in his fist. He quickly got closer to Eva and standing opposite her, opened his fingers. There was a small handful of red dust on his palm. It looked like a spice. Eva leaned down to get a closer look, but Seth suddenly took a deep breath and blew it all right in her face. A crimson cloud of shimmering dust hung in the air. Eva coughed, startled, and recoiled from Seth, narrowing her eyes indignantly. What are you? When the time comes, look at the opposite straight in the eye and use your insight. Do it at the same way as when you work with one romancy. 1 minute or two, and sleep will claim him. It won't last long, and I'm not sure how deep it will be, but it should be enough for you. Eva rubbed her eyes, making sure they didn't water or hurt. What if it doesn't work? What if he wakes up? He shouldn't. The main thing is not to interfere with his dream and not talk to him. You should be a mere shadow, even if the opposite turns to look right at you. As soon as you've seen what is happening there, leave right away. I'll be waiting for you outside. Eva nodded, feeling numb, with the moment of truth drawing so close. She didn't even know if she was ready for such madness. Are you scared? They call him the old seer, don't they? I thought they do, but he'll say nothing about you. Literally nothing. Stop fretting, little Shesmu. Eva lowered her head, trying to brace herself. Said was her only chance to escape to distant lands where she was going to be able to sleep peacefully at night without flinching at every sound. But what peace could there be if Eva was controlled by the god of war? Set towered over her like a menacing shadow. The god of chaos in the red desert seemed to be unbound by the duties familiar to humankind, traveling freely whenever he wanted. Here and there, he played with people's fates and brought chaos into their lives. He burned them to the ground or hit them with a sandstorm. But his game are not all evil. If he hadn't shown up that night, everything would have ended differently. And there are different ways of looking at his service. I've already avoided many problems thanks to him. There's a little pressure in owing to someone, but his protection is what I need right now. The warm sunshine emphasized his strong profile. A bright ray of light outlined the strands of his dark red hair, moved to his nose and then down to his chiseled jaw. If you hadn't saved me as a child, what would have happened? Something as bad as in the Ebro if I hadn't intervened. It's funny because that time we ran into each other by accident. You weren't looking for me on purpose? Seth followed the change of subject without asking any questions. He stepped away from Eva, watching her reaction. I was looking for the drowned man. But when we came to the same place again, everything became clear to me. His Adam's apple stood out on the strong neck when he was talking, and his voice sounded like the deep rumbling of a thunder. This man said, I'm leaving no room for debate. Seth's presence was palpable. He had a way of shifting the atmosphere around him. What became clear? Flashing like a shadow behind Eva's back, Seth reappeared in front of her. He replied with a half smile. That it was time to take you under my wing. My debtor had found me herself. You've caused enough trouble while you were left unattended. How exactly are you going to look after me? Are you going to make me run errands for you? When will my debt be paid? When he says so. Do you want to be left to your own devices? I want to stop depending on someone. First one person and then another. Seth laughed at her ardent desire to achieve something she couldn't have. She talked about freedom while sitting in a torture chamber guarded by an elite squad of hunters. Her dark curls fell onto her delicate shoulders, covered with a peculiar outfit. With expensive fabric, Eva emphasized everything nature had blessed her with. But you'll have to be dependent on me as a dark magician. And as Mason said, my beloved, who was given to me as payment for his service. Seth reached out to Eva to touch her hair and thread his fingers through it. She didn't recoil but held her breath instead. So I'm not just a servant like him, Sid? He was sacrificed to you too. Do I have a different role? A lot depends on full names. Everyone hides this for a reason, and it's for a reason that you named after me. Had grown up to be the most beautiful among all women. Wow, okay. And he says he doesn't truly care about us, even if it seems like it's just lust for now. Seth caught her eye, drawing her attention to himself. I can take my due and let the person go, or I can use them for a long time because some people turn the situation to their advantage. My fair master and all who serve me are satisfied. Take you, little Shesmu, is still alive and well. What do you think that is? Taking a step closer, Seth kept his eyes on her. She looked at him questioningly, a little apprehensively, but her interest was stronger than her fear. Her whole being was drawn to him, to his strength. Just as flowers crave the sun and birds yearn for the sky, Eva was irresistibly drawn toward her patron, almost against her will. Despite her fear, she believed it was the right decision to remain by his side. He forced her hand, but things were arranged in such a way that Eva was ready to complete her task willingly. Seth looked cold, but at the same time there was a volatile mixture of feelings stirring within him. Eva shrugged her shoulders. I'm alive because I shouldn't die before my time. You don't deserve to die at all. They bring death, the hunters, but that is not the will of the gods, only that of humans. Her face took an expression of sorrow or discontent so often that even the mighty Seth felt sorry for that beauty confined within four walls because of nothing but human folly. If they hadn't decided to hunt down his follower as the dark magician and hadn't driven out the members of the cult of the warrior god from the capital, everything could have turned out differently. And that beauty, the panther, would have had a very different life. She'd be rolling in gold like shrewd Shesmu, not hiding in damn corner. She and his other followers would all enjoy life, not kill to survive. Seth's eyes followed the movement of his hand as it traced gently the contour of Eva's shoulder. Grazing her velvety skin with his fingertips, he said softly, The reckoning is near, All those who brought death to you will pay for their deeds. You're feeling Seth's influence more and more. Uh-oh. That means we will submit willingly to him if we take his love choices, I think. It's time. Having said that, Seth headed for the door and left. He was right to hurry. Only a moment later the door opened again. Agnia. The woman before Eva was not the same sharp-tongued traitor she'd met once. At best, Agnia was conspiring with the hunters. At worst, she was an assassin who'd been playing a role that had been given to her all along. Your choice will affect the future development of your relationship with Agnia. Following scarlet fabric flowed around her hips, and her short dark hair and sly eyes peeked out from under a hood. It was very attractive, surprising. I mean, Agnia is beautiful, but to be quite honest, I was surprised. First one persona, then another. Who was she really? You're back. I see you didn't sleep well. You have no romantic interest in each other. No, we don't. I saw her as a good friend and then she'd be doing me dirty like this. Sleep is the least of my worries right now. Did you manage to catch Remao? We gone at him. He won't be able to leave unnoticed. The hunters are everywhere, keeping an eye on all their plans. His capture is only a matter of time. You helped me just in time. Agnia grinned, shrugging her shoulders. Something told me that you might be in danger, since you were so reluctant to go see him. Are you all right? He could have attacked you hiding somewhere around the corner. No, I would have noticed. People like him are much better at hiding than fighting, so that's why your mentor immediately ran away. Rema is no longer my mentor. He's never been the most kind-hearted, but to attack me. Eva frowned and almost stomped her foot with indignation. Agnia laughed, patting Eva on the shoulder.
Don't be angry. He sent this near. Emin has old scores to settle with him, so he won't rest until he tears him apart. But it's so sweet that you were worried about me. It was my pleasure to help you. Now God, the episode is waiting for you.
Your friendship has improved, thank you. They headed to the Hunter's Terrace. I have the feeling that we are gonna die by all of their hands. The Supreme Epistates was waiting for them. Enveloped in the fading sunlight, he was leaning against the edge of the table, wiping his hands with the damp cloth thoughtfully, scrubbing every finger carefully. The sound of footsteps distracted him. Eamon looked up as the two women entered the room. Titian, who was sitting next to him, looked up from some papyrus.
You waited for me. Come on in, Eva.
Eamon stared at her, a little more than necessary, no longer shy about it. She had met the dawn with him. Snuggled up against the side, she'd fallen asleep as soon as her head had touched his shoulder. Eamon hadn't dared to move, as if he was laying next to a cat. What if she had woke up?
I brought her here as requested. I'd better go. No one but me can snare him out. He's not far from the endless expanses. We can let him live deepest.
Agnia's working with the hunters as I expected. I doubt her becoming my roommate was an accident.
Stay a little longer. Recover your strength. An extra hour won't change anything. Wait for me, then we'll talk about the rest.
What is there to talk about? I'll try to take him alive, but I can't make promises. All I've been hearing since Hermopolis has been wait. We've waited enough. He attacked her and ran away. Who was right, huh?
You've chosen this moment to speak your mind.
To be quite honest, Eamon and Agnia's relationship is so hilarious. Eamon and Agnia are arguing. Were they already working together back in Hermopolis? Invisible God, what happened there anyway?
We had an agreement. You watched the brats, I watched the mentor. That was our deal. Since he escaped, it's up to me to decide how to proceed.
You're just helping, not leading the hunt, remember?
Eamon put his hands on his lips, giving Agnia a stern, displeased look. Titian let out a noisy sigh, but didn't intervene.
You've been telling me to wait since Hermopolis, and then what? He escaped. I told you this would happen. He attacked your Neferet.
Ooh! She literally emphasized it. Your Neferet. We all know. We all know you two are something.
He tried to mutilate her. I bet you won't forgive yourself for that, won't you?
Ooh! Because she knows they all be in the know and everyone is silent. They know that he has a weak spot for us. Eamon tilted his head suddenly, as if his patience had reached its limit. He cursed sternly.
Your tongue is worse than a poisonous blade.
Look at his face. He's red. He's blushing.
If that's what you want, go chase the Shesmu. I'll take care of things here as agreed. He holed up somewhere in the outskirts. Our people are making sure that he doesn't get to the endless expanses.
Agnia took out a thin dagger and twirled it in her hands.
Take some food with you. I'll meet you there at dusk. Don't kill him. Do as we agreed.
Agnia nodded and headed to the door, winking at Eva.
Don't worry. I'll give him a present from you. Say a broken bone.
I love her. I'm sorry. He deserves that after what he did. I'm sorry. Agnia disappeared, returning to her work. An assassin. That's what Agnia really was. Eamon and Titian turned their attention back to Eva.
It looks like this will be our last conversation on the topic of whether or not you're involved in all that has been happening. We won't need to torture you. I'm sure you will tell me everything yourself. Right?
Well, yes. What choice do I have at this point? You're sitting in front of me, Epistates, looking so stern. I'm not stupid. I won't lie to you. Why did you even say that? Ask me and I'll tell you what I know.
I'm pleased to hear that.
Eva walked slowly deeper into the room. Two pairs of attentive eyes followed her every move. However, Titian kept glancing down at his papyrus, so as not to embarrass Eva too much. Even as he pretended to be busy, however, he still half listened to their conversation. The outcome of this conversation will depend on your level of suspicion. You can still decrease it. But I'm already at the lowest.
Remo attacked you, right? All the dark magicians have no morals. They don't care who you are. A friend, an enemy, or even an apprentice. You knew he was a Shesmu, didn't you?
Eva remembered Dia's warning and didn't bother to pretend to look surprised or scared. I knew that, but he threatened me.
Threatened you?
Yes. At first I was just a student, so I didn't know. And then I wasn't able to tell because I was scared. The Supreme Epistates nodded slowly.
All right, I see.
You knew it was useless to lie about you knowing because Dia had warned you. Eamon nodded, accepting her answer. He exchanged a glance with Titian, its meaning known only to them. How do I cloud his mind if there are two of them? They came here to interrogate me, to decide my fates. I didn't plan for that.
He attacked you the way Shesmu usually attack those who know too much. I really want to know, Eva. What's so special about what you know?
Isn't knowing that he is a Shesmu reason enough? That, though.
Remo, exposing himself, was forced to flee. But he could have escaped in secret, without the hunters chasing him. He needed to get rid of you first, because that was more important to him than anything else. Shesmu, especially the elder ones, never act in this way, unless the end justifies the means, because they know that otherwise the price to pay is their head.
Titian ultimately decided to intervene. Putting his papyrus aside again, he spoke to Eamon in a whisper.
Go easy on her, Eamon. What could he possibly have told her? He wanted to scare and pressure her, to throw her at us, like he did with the other girl.
The Supreme Epistates looked at his right-hand man as if he couldn't believe in ears.
Are you defending her?
Because we're good people! Probably he has like the soft spot for us because we are actually giving him some good advice and we're technically paying gems for him so that he can be together with the woman he loves.
I'm just saying what I think. She doesn't look like someone who is keeping secrets on behalf of an elder dark magician. People say more good things about Eva than bad.
Path of high renown, period! Titian stood up for you. Suspicion level decreased. That was the suspicion level. I was already at the lowest.
Titian, go do something useful.
That was hilarious. He was like, you are doing too much. You're not being helpful at all. You're useless. Do something productive. Titian didn't argue and left the room under the Epistate's disapproving gaze. Damn. Finally, it was just the two of them. She would soon have chance to cloud Eamon's mind, but she wanted to finish talking first so that she would finally know how things were going to end between them. If he decided that Eva deserved to be executed, was he going to be able to really do that? And if he decided she was innocent, what then? What am I hoping for? That he was being honest? And he will make me his woman? I need to divert suspicion away from myself and share a fragment of the truth. Remao attacked me because I'm interested in Eastman's death. Eva crossed her arms, pleased that she didn't even have to lie. You already know this, Epistates. I don't believe that he took his own life. I have been snooping around, asking questions. Livius didn't know where to hide from me.
I remember.
When my mentor attacked me, he said that by doing so, I had crossed someone. My question bothered those who...
Could he be behind the murder? Did he say that?
Yes, I was very scared. Eamon nodded again, taking a moment to think, biting his lower lip. He stepped away from the table.
It sounds plausible. This is the work of the same person who killed that man on the West Bank.
The Epistate is pleased that you were honest. He stated the facts without much emotion, just following his thoughts. Renown! The Supreme Epistate's motion for Eva to step closer. She obeyed, dragging her feet. She walked as if she were climbing the steps of the gallows. Ooh!
Come here.
As soon as Eva stepped closer to the Epistates, he bit his lip thoughtfully yet again.
I still have questions, Eva, but I'll let you go home today.
You let me go? Eamon nodded sternly, but then added,
You will remain in the settlement until civilians, until I finish with your mentor. We haven't figured it all out yet.
Eva couldn't believe what she was hearing. Outcome, the suspicion level is low enough for Eamon to want to find new direct evidence. He suspects that I'm involved, but he doesn't know what kind of leverage he might need. Maybe he has some advantage, but he's trying not to show it as not to scare me. Renown! So sorry. Eva's heart started racing. Eamon stood in front of her, staring right at her. She imagined him losing his focus, his muscles weakening, his mind becoming foggy from sleepiness. Ooh!
What's wrong with me?
Eamon twitched, blinking repeatedly. He grimaced and stepped back as if he no longer knew where he was. It's time. The hypnotic substance was strong, but Eamon's tough body and his mind fought hard against Set's dark magic. When Eamon staggered, Eva was at his side instantly to catch him. It wasn't the best idea. If the hunter had fallen, he would have crushed Eva too. But she didn't even think about it. She was scared that he was going to hurt himself. Eamon could barely stand on his feet, but Eva eased a shoulder under his arm to hold him up. He clung to her to steady himself. Eamon grinned and hugged Eva, who snuggled up to him.
You're putting me to bed.
Yes, what would you do without me? So sorry. That's hilarious. Do you mind my favorite, master? Ooh! Eva looked away quickly, embarrassed. What was she saying? She was saying what she was feeling. This is the desire talking now, not her anymore. But Eamon was dazed, and the thought gave her courage. He liked her answer, and a faint smile touched his lips as he whispered,
Then put me to bed.
Ooh! Sorry. To help her, Eamon slowly sank onto the bed. Eva was holding him under his arm, so she sat down with him. He gave her a tired yet attentive look.
Tidian said I don't get enough sleep, but I didn't think it was this bad.
His thoughtful muttering made Eva feel very ashamed. She had clouded the best hunter's mind. With others he was a rock, but with her he became limp, relaxed, giving in to all that alluring bliss. Eva pressed herself to his strong, warm chest. When he was completely drained, she leaned back with him. He caressed her head and hair, noticing the worried expression on her face.
Are you scared?
Scared? Of what? Eva leaned in to kiss Eamon on the cheek. He looked so serene and gentle right then. All his hunting instincts had been dulled, one by one. He stopped keeping his posture straight, lowered his guard, and no longer controlled his words. Eva moved away and then carefully put Eamon's head onto her lap. Once he fell asleep, she was going to put a pillow under him.
Scared of your mentor, and of what will happen after that.
Eva leaned down, aiming to touch his cheek, but Eamon reached up and caught her lips first. He planted a light, quick kiss on her mouth. Oh! Oh my god! How cute is this? Eamon was very confused. His gaze clouded, white strands clung to his forehead, and his thick eyelashes framed his light blue eyes. Eva responded in kind. Through their caresses and kisses, she murmured, I was scared that you would get angry and wouldn't forgive me. You'll forget this anyway. At least I'll get it off my chest. Eamon kissed her slowly, teasingly, without crossing the line. He whispered against her lips,
My favorite scribe.
His eyes closed and his breathing gradually became even. Eamon fell asleep in your arms. Mwah! She looked around hastily to find the mess Seth had left behind the pillow. To her surprise, Eva found not only a mask but also a Brungdi cloak. You can't show up wearing just anything in a dream. Seth knows the rules perfectly well. What if Eamon remembers me like Livius? This is for my safety. Eva put on the cloak Seth had left for her. Ooh. 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 Okay. To be quite honest, they all look kind of beautiful, but I kind of like this one. And I don't know why. Maybe because of the gold thing there. Stop here. Eva took the plate lying next to the cloak and crouched in front of the sleeping episode. She had to wait a little while to make sure that he had fallen into a deep sleep. Eva wondered how quickly her head would be cut off if she was caught wearing those clothes next to the unconscious epistates. Seth promised me that no one would be in this house. I can do my job safely. Livius is busy looking for the body, and my patron is waiting for me outside. I need to concentrate on Eamon's feelings. Stay focused. We need to, girl. My brain is a mess. How do I tune into someone else's emotions? Seth said I should act the way I usually do when fulfilling Yonoramancy commissions. It turned out to be quite difficult to get in touch with Eamon's soul. She didn't quite understand her own soul, but they did have something in common. A chaos of feelings for each other. Eva imagined him thinking about her, being torn apart by uncertainty and hating her because, like her, he could find no escape from those conflicting thoughts. Is it working? It is working! The blade in her hand transformed. Ooh! I'm drawn to his feelings. She settled down next to Eamon, ready to complete Seth's reckless commission. Eva heard a strange rumbling sound and her eyes snapped open. She jumped up from her seat when she realized that she was in someone's courtyard. She heard disgruntled voices and sounds of something breaking in the house to which it belonged. There's something going on inside there. Eva didn't even have time to take a step as a blonde boy came rushing out. Oh, Eamon! Eamon? He ran past her, already tall for his age, and turned around hurriedly.
Why are you standing there? You need to hide too.
Eva remembered that Seth had told her not to talk to Eamon and looked toward the house again. Who was he running from? Where? She heard screams again. Ah ha 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 ha.
Right there, sitting next to me. How could you support that? And how dare you come to my house? You're a dark magician too.
The loud male voice was very similar to the one that Eva had heard many times before.
What's in it for you? They will ban dark magic, so what will you support next? The edict against the servants of Seth too.
Eva could hear an angry female voice rising above the noise. Judging by Eamon's appearance, he must have been about 10 or 11 years old, which meant that his reign was taking place in the years when the official ban on dark magic was being proclaimed. The first major law concerning that subject had been introduced 20 years earlier, but the Pharaoh squads had begun their purging work long before that. The ban stated that the use of dark magic would be severely punished. However, if a dark magician didn't practice, they couldn't be prosecuted as they didn't violate any law. The law used to be more lenient, until the second Pharaoh's decree, which had happened sometime later.
Do these servants no longer know who they work for?
Quiet and threatening voices replied something, but Eva couldn't make out the words.
I really need to hide. Mom made me promise that I would stay here. Those people can be dangerous.
Turning around, Eva saw young Eamon standing under a lush palm tree. He looked at her seriously. Instead of running far from his house, his head tilted to the side.
Aren't you scared?
First, we won't be allowed to use magic, and then what? We won't be allowed to even know magic can exist. They're taking advantage of you, you fools.
The male voice must belong to Eamon's father, but who does the female voice belong to? His mother? The noise was getting louder. Eamon pressed himself against a column, breathing heavily. His face remained calm, but his eyes were as round as 2 coins.
I can't let them see you. That said, they'll kill me if they see me. But what if they get killed while I'm hiding here?
The dream slowly losing its colors. Eva quickly realized that Eamon was very tense and they were reaching one of those moments when he usually woke up from his nightmare. Nothing special had happened yet, though. There had been shouting, swearing. His mother had clearly sent her son to hide and wait for their fight with their guests to be over. The worst was still ahead, which meant that she needed to calm Eamon's soul somehow so that the dream wouldn't be interrupted. Path of cunning? Why cunning? Stay where you are. I'm sure they will come out in a moment. From your hiding place, you can see for yourself whether they need your help or not. You're strong, right?
Right.
His fingers relaxed a little.
You know why I'm here. Stop screaming. There's no way to stop this.
Traitor!
Eamon waved his hand at her.
Hide. Hurry up. They're coming here.
Eva hid next to the boy. Without thinking twice, she jumped up toward Eamon and quickly hid behind a nearby column to watch from safety. What on earth happened here?
Stay still. That's the main thing. Mom begged me to keep my head down.
They both hid, but even in the dream Eva felt the turmoil inside Eamon's soul, and a moment later she understood why.
I would support what is asked of me. You should have learned that, but your family has made you weak. It's for a reason the dark magician don't have children.
Oh no, I think I understand now. Is Eamon a dark magician? That's been the only thing on my mind. Eva realized with horror what she was about to see. Amy's parents were dark magicians! Yes! And someone came for them. I understand now. I understand his hatred. I understand his hatred for dark magicians now. Y'all, I've been thinking the entire time ever since the conversation between these parents started, I could already understand what was going on. I had the thought in my head the entire time, but I was scared to say it too quickly and to sound stupid. His parents were dark magicians. Doesn't that automatically also make Eamon a dark magician? First off. Second off, I understand now why he's hunting dark magicians. I have two options, okay? The one option is, I have the feeling that he's projecting the hatred that he felt for the people that came for his parents and turned it into such a huge amount of rage that he became the hunter instead of the protector of dark magicians. I don't know if you all know the story, but when you get bullied, usually, if you aren't strong enough, of course, like it doesn't apply to everyone, but mostly the people that used to be bullied in school or something, they are the ones that become bullies themselves in the future because they were the ones being bullied for no reason whatsoever, and they carried that frustration, that rage inside of them for such a long time, and when they see someone weaker, as in themselves in front of them, someone that is weaker than they are, in that moment, they use that opportunity to unleash all the frustration that they have onto them. And it's like a never-ending cycle because that person may also turn into a bully. They try to get rid of their frustration somehow by projecting the hatred of themselves for not having been strong enough to fight against that injustice that came upon them because of that rage-filled person back in the day onto the person that is in their eyes now weaker. As in, as soon as they see someone that seems similar to who they used to be before they got bullied, they project the hatred that they felt because of what that bully did to them and the frustration and the disappointment in themselves for not having been strong enough to fight against that bully onto the weaker person in the picture now. So that's maybe what Eamon did. He used the hatred that he felt and the injustice for not having been capable to do something to protect his parents onto the reason why they were hunted in the first place. And that's because they were dark magicians. So, maybe in his mind, he's like, if I kill every single Shesmu, no one will have to learn that kind of pain like I had in the past. He cared about dark magicians because dark magicians were his parents and they were murdered. So he's like, if I take care of every single Shesmu, no one will have to endure that pain that I had because I cared about the Shesmu. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is that he's killing every single Shesmu because he was like, my parents didn't deserve to die, they didn't do anything, yet they were still brutally murdered, and they didn't deserve that, and I had to pick up the pieces of my broken heart because they were actually someone came for them. So he's like, since they apparently deserved such a fate, even though they didn't, I will make sure that every single other Shesmu that is alive faces the same pain that my parents had to endure when they got brutally murdered. That's why he's so brutal towards Shesmu, because he's like carrying that rage inside of him because of what happened back then. It could make sense. You guys tell me, what do you think? What theory is true in your eyes? The first theory or the second one I mentioned? A tall man came out of the house, but Eva couldn't see his face, as if Eamon had erased the image of his father from his memory. The man didn't try to escape, only hastily checked that his little son had hidden well and couldn't catch the enemy's eye. But they weren't supposed to be enemies. Both were followers of Set, like Eva and Remal, and things ended in a similar way for them, only worse.
Don't. Is this what your master asked for?
Where are you going?
You know I'll find you wherever you go.
The dark figure immediately swung the dagger and...
Please stop.
Eamon tightened his hands on the column, not taking his eyes off his father. Oh no. Yeah. Blood splattered across the wall and the plants. Wow. The man's imposing body fell to the ground.
No, Isfet, why?
A woman ran out of the house shrouded in the same haze as Eamon's father was, and she rushed to the bloodied corpse.
You should have agreed right away.
Eamon's mother knew that he was somewhere close, and the most important thing was not to give him away, or they could start looking for him too.
You killed him, and for what? What kind of mentor does that to his people?
Another male shadow moved in the corner. Two Shesmu had come to destroy Eamon's family. The woman sobbed angrily and bitterly.
They will adopt the decree, and it all come back to bite you. But it's not you who will be doing the killing. You'll be the one being killed, and your brat.
There's not one killer, but two. But one of them is clearly the leader, and the other's just watching or even learning.
Are you worried about my brat? Maybe you should be thinking about yours. Where will the offspring of an Wanaramancer and the Necromancer go? It's time to die. You've caused enough problems.
Eamon opened his eyes wide, realizing what would happen next, but still forced himself to stay still. Oh no. He shuddered and didn't move again. He hardly breathed, as his mother had ordered him to do. That was so unnecessary. Eamon's parents, and Wanaramancer and a Necromancer were killed right before his eyes by another Shesmu. A knot formed in Eva's stomach as she saw two long, airy shadows stretching along the ground. One of them could be the man Seb was looking for. Isfet, and all this is connected with the first decree on dark magic. Nice. Great. So they know, y'all, I can't. This cannot be happening. They can't be doing us dirty like this. I feel bad. I really do. Eamon did not deserve that. And besides, I have the feeling Seth did tell us that this man was completely out of his mind. So maybe he wanted to recruit other Shesmu so that he maybe could stand in front of Sed and completely erase him, as in dethrone him so that he could become Sed, because he didn't want to owe Sed anymore. And the parents refused. So he was like, you are dead, and they killed them. So that's why he's carrying anger for Shesmu, because he was like, his parents were killed by Shesmu. He doesn't see the fact that his parents were Shesmu too. He just sees the fact that they were killed by Shesmu. So that's why he wants every single Shesmu to be dead. That's why he carries so much hate inside of him. And I've been saying it a long time that maybe the fact why he hates Shesmu so much was because he lost someone he truly loved because of them. And that literally was just confirmed. I am sad for Eamon because no one deserves to lose his parents, especially not in such a brutal way. But now I kind of understand what Seth said. I don't really remember exactly the words he used, but he did say he is the All-Seer and he has mixed blood. And now I understand why. Because apparently when you are a Shesmu, you can only go with one path. You're either a Necromancer or a Wanaramancer. And apparently Eamon's parents were both a Wanaramancer and a Necromancer, which would mean that makes Eamon's power even more powerful, as in he's more special. Because apparently maybe in Heaven's Secret too, where you should only have sex when you're an angel with an angel and when you're a demon with a demon, but never mix angel and demon and then have a child, because they turn out to be more powerful. And it seems like it's the same thing happening here as well. Normally, the Shesmu mix between themselves, as in Necromancer and Necromancer, and Wanaramancer and Wanaramancer. And in Eamon's situation, he got created by a Necromancer and a Wanaramancer. That means maybe he has the powers of both, as in he doesn't have to choose between two. He is both a Wanaramancer and a Necromancer, and that's why he can perfect both of these professions. And he's using them to track down every single Shesmu to kill them. That's why they call him the All-Seer, because he can literally do both. Oh god, okay. And that would also explain why he wants everyone to leave while he inspects the room. Because he doesn't want to see that people see that he's a Shesmu. He doesn't want them to see that he's using his powers. But yeah, I'm intrigued to know what next episode is gonna be like. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye!